Okay, I'm with Rosten, and we're answering these questions for Jordan. So, Rosten, first question. In general, how has Luke 10 been helpful to you in either starting or leading Healthy House Church?
Well, Luke 10 has helped me to see that starting a house church really isn't that complicated. It's not necessarily easy, but it's not complicated. Really, the core of it is that you have to be able to listen deeply and share deeply at an emotional heart level, and then also listen deeply both at an individual and communal level to the heart of God. I don't like that as much as my original answer, but alas. Let me start over on that one actually.
Sure.
Okay.
You want me to read the question again?
Yes, please, actually.
And I like where you're going with that, by the way, of just simply saying it's helped knowing what to do in house church to set
Yes.
the rhythms. I think that's a great thing for people coming to the site. So here's the question. In general, how has Luke 10 helped you to start and or lead a healthy house church?
Well, when we first started looking at house church, one of the questions that kept coming up was, okay, who's going to say the sermon? Who's going to lead the songs? Who's going to come up with the order of worship? One of the things that Luke 10 has really helped us with is to see that we don't actually have to have those things. Sermons are great, songs are great, but the most important things to have for a good church to exist in our living room is to have a bunch of people who know how to listen to each other well and who know how to share well at a heart level, and then have a bunch of people who are willing and able to listen to God together for each other. House church isn't easy necessarily, but it's definitely not as complicated as we often try to make it out to be.
Excellent. Second question, how have the Luke 10 newsletters been helpful to you?
It's really easy in our house church to sometimes start thinking that the difficulties that we're going through, both at an individual and a couple level, but then also at a broader, the whole community level, it's really easy to start thinking that our problems are the end of the world, and that we're alone. One of the things that the newsletter helps us to see is that there's a whole big body of Christ out there that's doing things, that's going through other things as well, that's experimenting with different things, and the newsletter helps us to see that. It gives us stories for what's happening in the broader movement, and those stories can encourage us, they can help us to grow, they can help us to get ideas of what we want to try next.
Excellent. We were going to skip number 3, that's about the Church 101 course. So question 4, and I guess in question 4, Rustin, what we're thinking about is a similar kind of thing, that as a leader it's easy to feel isolated. It's our little house church here, and so within the larger Luke 10 community. So the way I've said the question is, as a leader, how have you experienced community in Luke 10?
In our house church, we have a lot of really young people. And my wife and I, we're 30, and we're the oldest people in our house church. And Luke 10, the Luke 10 community has helped us connect with people who are further down the road than us, spiritual parents and spiritual grandparents who are helping us to mature, helping us to grow up through our relationship with them. We've got people we've been connected to people here in Abilene through Luke 10, people in Temple, people in Colorado, people all over the country who are further down the road than us, who can not only help us to understand different things that we can do to do house church better, but just to support us and help us to grow.
Great, wonderful answer. The next question focuses on coaching, and I think I'll do this in 2 questions.
Okay.
The first one would be, just in a couple of sentences, explain what coaching is. Maybe you could do it in contrast to mentoring. You know, I think about the whole, sometimes there's value in pouring into people, but coaching really helps us learn how to draw out of people. Anything along that line?
Yeah, no, that's exactly where I think I was going to go. The coaching relationship is built on the assumption that God is placing the answers inside of each person. God is ready to lead each person, but that sometimes we just can't see it inside ourselves, or sometimes get in our own way and need someone to help us see what's already good inside of ourselves and what God is leading us into.
Perfect. So a related question is going to be, how has coaching benefited you? Have you, in terms of being coached? And then I'll ask another question about you coaching others.
The first one was me being coached.
Yeah. Have you experienced that, and what was that like? How was that valuable?
Yeah, I've had a couple of different coaching relationships, and sometimes in my life I get stuck and I don't know how to move forward. I have something that I'm really excited about or passionate about and know I need to make progress on, but just don't know how. And my coaching relationships, my coach has asked me just really good questions that have helped me to find the answer that was already inside of me that I just couldn't see yet.
Excellent. And then the next step is, how have you used the skill of coaching to help others? Have you had opportunity to do that?
Yeah, I love coaching. It's yeah. Hold on, give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part about coaching is that it takes so much pressure off of me, because I don't have all the answers, and I don't want to have all the answers, and I'm really happy that I don't have all the answers. But I do know that God is placing answers in other people, and coaching has helped give me good questions and good ways to help people find those answers inside of themselves.
Great, that's it. Okay, we're going to move on to training or resources. So training and or resources that you have from Luke 10 that have been helpful. This could be, workshops at the conference. It could be materials that we've sent out. Obviously, stuff with Kent. Just a couple of comments about the topic of training or resources you've received from Luke 10.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll just talk about the newest thing that I've seen, which is the Leadership 101 materials. Is it okay if I talk about those?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I've gotten to look at the Leadership 101 materials, and as far as I can tell, it is a combination of just some of the best material that is out there about people who are leaders growing to be more powerful in who they are, more confident in who they are, and become better spiritual parents and spiritual grown-ups who can help other people grow up as well.
Great. All right, last question, which, again, don't have to answer this if you don't want to. How has it been a benefit to you to be able to contribute financially to Luke 10? Jordan's comment was, it's really nice to be able to invest in people this way as opposed to, the air conditioning or the carpeting or whatever. So, any comment you'd like to make about that?
Well, my house could use some new carpet, so I mean, my wife and I don't have a steady income right now, which would make it really, really easy for us to just say that. Let me start over, actually. My wife and I don't have a steady income right now. We're just doing odd jobs and substitute teaching to make ends meet right now. So it would be really easy for us to say that now is just not the right time for us to give any money to something. And we haven't been able to be regular contributors. But there's been a couple times recently where we were talking to God about it and felt like God was really leading us to donate something to Luke 10. There was one time we had a bunch of books that we were selling online, and God led us to take the money from selling those books and give that to Luke 10. It wasn't a lot, but it's what we could do. And it would have been really easy to say, no, we can't do that because we don't have any money. But we did have money, and it was an amazing feeling to know that even though we don't have much, we could still contribute financially to the kingdom growing through Luke 10.
Excellent. Let me stop the broadcast here.